Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's class. Today, we will be talking about design build. So, without further ado, let's get started. Design build is unique because it's the only type of, you could say it's one of the unique types of contract in which the design and construction are delegated to only one team that should do everything about the project. Okay, so there's only one contract, and that is between the owner and the design builder. So we call that company design builder because they do both design and construction. The main advantage of having a single point for doing everything is that you will have a lot of uh, collaboration, and you know there will be a lot of working together, team making, and in the interdisciplinary team approach. So the idea of working on a team is maximized with design build and with integrated project delivery. It's actually even stronger in integrated project delivery. So the first question is, are the designer and construction team always part of one firm in design build? And the answer is no. You do not have to have only one company that does both design and construction together. It means a part of the work could be done by the design team, and they could delegate by the construction team, and they could delegate the design part of the work to another company. It means the contractor or the constructor could do the design in-house, or they could consult it. They could ask for consultancy and delegate the entire design to another company. But what is important is that the owner does not care about that contract. That contract is just between the builder and the design group, and the builder takes the entire responsibility about any mistakes that design group might make. Okay, so uh, it could also be a joint venture. It means two big contractors might join to build one construction firm, or to build the design builder firm, and deliver the project. The risk of the design build for an owner is that owners share owner's contribution to design is limited. Owner's control over the design is limited because all the responsibilities are carried out by the design builder. So there is limited control for the owner on the quality of design. But there are two solutions for that. One solution will be hiring consultants that would help the owner to establish the quality of design. And the other is that there could be some bridging documents. I will explain about the bridging documents in the next slide. The bridging documents are type of documents that help some source of some reference for the owner to build the project, to design the project actually. So before you start working with the designers, you create the bridging documents. And the bridging documents are a source for the designers to design the project based on. Okay, so the bridging documents can have preliminary, which is conceptual or schematic design, and the design team just makes them complete. For example, the number of bedrooms or how you want the general layout of the space could be decided in the bridging documents, and the detailed design will be established, will be produced by the design builder. Okay, but bridging documents are the documents that the owner and the consultant worked on, so the owner makes sure that the designer has a clear understanding of what the owner wants and what they need, and then they could make the design. So the bridging documents could be in-house by the owner, or sometimes the owner might ask a consultant to provide the bridging documents. It's like you are doing the design in two layers. First, you sit down with one consultant, and they create the preliminary design documents for you, and then you submit them to the design builder, and they sit down and work on the detailed design for several weeks or months, and then they produce the design, the complete or detailed design. So the design is like being produced in 2 stages. So what is owner's program? Owner's program is a second tool that the owner could increase their control over a design build project. In an owner's program, what they do is that there is a statement of project requirements. So they try to make it as clear as possible that what they need and what they want in that project. Okay, so they might create a document which is called project criteria. How about saving? Who owns the saving? It's not very different from other types of delivery method. It's similar to construction manager at risk. Here also, if there is a saving, there is an agreement that they share the saving. How the savings is shared usually is decided before they enter the construction process. So both sides have some incentives, have some motivation for the saving, but that should be a common goal, and it should be encouraging to all parties. Okay, so here are a few questions. Who holds the construction and project contingency? Both the project contingency and the construction contingencies are held by the owner in this type of delivery method. What are the typical characteristics of design build? The typical characteristic is the fast track, the ability to fast track. It means that the design and construction are done at the same time. Important thing is, if someone asks you, is it a must to do design and build together in design build delivery method? The answer is no. You don't have to do them together. That's just an option. But that's the essence of design build. If you do the design and construction at 2 different time intervals, then you have killed the essence of design build. But it doesn't mean that it's a must, it's a necessity. You could still have one firm who does the design entirely and then goes and build the project. But usually the main idea of a design build is fast tracking, because you don't want to spend a lot of time on design. You want your construction to start when the design is still in process or in progress. So it is an option, it is not a must, but it is highly recommended. It is the essence of design build. How is the design builder selected? So the design builder the design builder's quality of work is going to hugely impact the quality of project. That's why usually you pay a lot of attention to quality. That means qualification-based selection would be a safe way to go. But I have a more complete slide to talk about the selection methods. There is a video. I invite you all to watch this video about design build. Please do it at home. Let's talk about timing of establishing the contract amount. So that's a big source for. That's a big question. That without having the design 100% ready, how can we have a price on this contract? So that depends on the amount of information available, but you can decide on the price at any time in the project. It's usually based on, if it's in the beginning of the project, you do cost plus, because you need a lot of reimbursement freedom, and you haven't established any design documents. So it's very difficult for you to decide on the cost of the project. But if you have the complete design, or if you are in the advanced stages of the design, then you could have a guaranteed maximum price or lump sum, because you are pretty sure how much this project will cost. Selection method, like I said, I promised earlier that we will talk more about how the design builder is selected. Most of the time, it's based on qualification-based selection because they play everything. They play this integral role in the delivery of the project. I mean, the design builder does. That's why the quality of their work goes a long way. It's an identifier of the project's success. But you could also do best value fees. You should, if you don't consider the total construction cost, but you consider some of their fees like the general condition costs, and also the quality of their work, that would be considered as best value fees. Best value total cost comes into play when you pay a lot of attention to the technical proposal and also some cost elements of their proposal, excluding the total construction cost. Because once the total construction cost comes into play, that would be the low bid. You might ask, how can you have the low bid in design build? Because the design is not even ready. So how can they estimate? The estimation is based on the design documents. When there is no design documents, how can we have a low bid contract? The answer to that question would be, in that case, the bridging documents plays the role of the main reference for estimating the project costs. It means you would look at the bridging documents, and based on that, you would do your best estimate of the project costs, and between the suggested costs provided by different bidders, the lowest bidder will be awarded the contract. Let's talk about changes. There is less headache with changes when it comes to design build, because many of the changes actually happen because of the indiscrepancies or the conflicts between the designer and the constructor or the general contractor. Here they belong to the same team. It's like a fight between different family members. After all, they both belong to the same family, so they can more easily resolve it. But with other types of delivery methods, the conflict between the designer and construction is like a fight between two families. Here, they both belong to the same family, so they can internally resolve a lot of issues. There will be fewer changes, there will be fewer disputes and claims. Changes are usually faster to be taken care of. And actually, since in many projects, in many design build projects, we have fast tracking, it means the design is getting completed when the construction is already in progress. You could say that the design is more realistic. The design is reflecting the actual and the existing job site conditions, and a lot of constructability issues are minimized in design build. So there would be there would be a less need to changes, and as a result, there will be fewer changes in design build compared with other types of delivery methods. And this also applies to dispute management. There will be fewer design-related disputes, but there could be other types of disputes. But when it comes to design disputes, which is a huge part of the disputes, you will see a significant drop in the number of dispute cases when the project delivery method is design build. The key to that is the maximized collaboration between the team members, which include the designer and the constructor, and the single point responsibility. Like I said, it's like a fight between different members of one family, not two families. So they could resolve many of the problems internally without having to take it to the court or other resolution policies. So we highlighted fast tracking a lot. We said fast tracking is the essence of design build. Design build enables an owner to start construction a lot earlier, because once the design is only partially ready, people can get on the field and start building the project. And as the design gets completed, people will continue construction, so there is no pause between design and construction. There will be a significant overlap in the time of design and construction that could save a significant number of months for the owner, because the design process could take a lot of months. And we also mentioned that most of the time, fast tracking will enable the designers to have a more realistic understanding of the design requirements and the project requirements. So it will significantly reduce or shrink possible constructability issues, and you will face fewer design challenges down the road, because if you see something, you will say it to the designer and they will reflect it in the future designs. So it's very different from the time that you are just sitting in your office and you are designing the project for 3 years down the road. You have no clear understanding of how the job site conditions might affect your design. You just are considering everything based on the available information, which is limited. So fast tracking also facilitates project coordination, and there will be fewer changes. It will minimize any work that may have to be redoing or altering the work. So fast tracking has lots of advantages. Maybe the only big disadvantage with fast tracking is that you cannot estimate the cost of construction before the construction starts, because the design is only partially ready. So you don't have any complete design documents that you could do a thorough estimation based on those documents. That's the main disadvantage of fast tracking. But on the other side, you could say it's all full of advantages. So we also have lien waivers. You remember lien waivers? If you sign a lien, it means that you cannot claim liens against the owner. With all private construction projects, you have all the rights to file liens. We said that in public projects because the public's interest comes into play. It is less possible or common to have to file liens against a public project. In many states, design professionals are not entitled to lien rights. It means that they will not come into play. It only applies to the constructor. But if a constructor, if a builder, if a general contractor signs a lien waiver form, it doesn't mean that the designer also has signed it. The design team can still place liens if it's a private project. The project owner is placed in the position of placing the lien waiver process, right? Policing the lien waiver process. It means the project owner should ask them to sign the lien forms so that they will not claim. And if they don't sign it, then the project owner could be at risk. So it's something that should be policed by the project owner. Like other types of delivery methods, here you have different forms of bonds. You have the surety bond, you have the performance bond, and the payment bond. Performance bond is a commitment by a surety that in case the general contractor fails to complete the project as stated by the contract, they will step in and complete the project. And a payment bond similarly is a promise, or is a contract, is a legal contract, is a legal promise, legally binding promise by a surety, which is usually a bank or an insurance company, that if the general contractor fails to pay the subcontractors or anyone involved in that project, then the surety will step in and make those payments. So in that case, it will be called a payment bond. So remember, when a surety pays for you, it's not like insurance. You have to pay you have to reimburse the surety, and that's very bad for your reputation if a surety has to cover you up. So it's just for the sake of peace of mind for the owner. But in many cases, general contractors do all they can to avoid. A surety will step in and cover their charges. They don't want this. No one wants this. That just happens in very unusual or extreme cases. In sustainability, there is a lot of emphasis that the sooner designers and construction teams start collaboration, there is more chance to build a green project. Because, for example, the designers could have some inputs for the builders. The builders, on the other hand, could have some inputs for the design team. For example, we are going to maximize using natural light in this project, or we are going to use water like this. We're going to have a green roof on this building. So if they can collaborate together, they can increase the amount of sustainability in the project. And that goes a long way. So the advantage of sustainability only comes into play when there is an early involvement of everyone in the design process. Because once the design is ready, you have to build it. You have to comply with the design documents. This early involvement provides a kind of flexibility for the entire team to provide feedbacks or inputs that could maximize or contribute to sustainability of the project. Okay, so and remember, it is an open book type of project, so there will be close involvement of all the trade contractors and suppliers in the project. What are some of the lessons learned with design build? Design build has been proven to be very effective, to be a very effective project delivery method, especially when time is of the essence, or when time is the controlling factor of the project. So you don't want to spend a lot of time on providing the design and then looking for someone to build the project and then starting the construction phase. So it is common, and every day it's getting more and more common. Still, we cannot provide a very thorough estimation of the project cost, and that limits the project in so many ways. So that would be one disadvantage, which I will talk about in the next slide. So advantages of design build is the single source of responsibility. Like I said, any fight is like a fight within the family or between family members. Members of the same family, so they could resolve the problems much faster and more easily. So there will be cost savings. Usually there will be time savings, and there will be fewer changes. There will be reduced claims exposure. There will be value engineering, and the project efficiency will be more. However, much of the project, almost everything about the project, is done by one firm, which plays the role of both the designer and the constructor. So that kind of limits the owner's control over the quality of the project. Okay, and there will be limited competitive pricing because the design is not even ready for an estimate. So that would be one disadvantage for design build. And in the last slide, which will not be asked in quizzes or tests, I have some statistics. According to the statistics, design build projects have 12.5% shorter construction duration, which is significant because each day in a construction project means a lot of expenses. So 12% means a lot of savings. The delivery cycle, it means shorter delivery cycle is could be, the delivery cycle could be reduced to 33%, which is huge, and the construction costs could be shortened to shorter for 6.1%. So in a project that costs millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, that this 6% could be a lot of money. So as you can see, in practice, it is showing that design build is a successful project delivery method. That completes our lecture about design build. And thank you for your attention. I'll see you all next time.